10 Best Star Trek, Deep Space Nine Season 1 Episodes Ranked Worst to Best. Star Trek Deep Space Nine boldly went where no Star Trek series had gone before in its first season, anchoring its story to a fixed location, embracing serialized arcs, and diving deep into the political and spiritual complexity of a post-occupation Vager. While DS9's first season took time to find its footing, it still offered glimmers of the greatness that would come in later seasons. From tense standoffs to spiritual awakenings and ethical conundrums, here are the 10 best DS9 Season 1 episodes ranked from worst to best. 10. Q-less Episode 7, Why It Stands Out. Bringing Q into DS9 was almost inevitable. How could the omnipotent mischief maker resist testing a new crew? Though the episode has a comedic tone and features Vash from TNG, its real value lies in how it highlights the tonal difference between DS9 and its predecessor. Where Picard debated Q with moral gravitas, Sisko punches him in the face. This moment, while played for laughs, is symbolic. DS9 is not trying to be the next generation. It's forging its own path. Why it's lower ranked. The episode doesn't have much lasting impact, and Q feels somewhat out of place. Still, it's a fun watch and a necessary milestone in DS9 finding its own voice. 9. A Man Alone, Episode 3, Why It Stands Out. Odo's first major spotlight episode is a noir-tinged whodunit that explores xenophobia and mistrust aboard the station. When Odo is accused of murder, the story examines how quickly a community can turn on someone it doesn't fully understand. It also introduces the concept of Odo's mysterious origins and begins his long arc of personal discovery. Why it's lower ranked. The plot is somewhat slow-moving, and the resolution doesn't quite live up to the tension. However, it lays the foundation for Odo's character and his complex relationship with justice and identity. 8. Captive Pursuit, Episode 6, Why It Stands Out. This is one of the first DS9 episodes to really challenge Starfleet's prime directive. When an alien named Tosk arrives and reveals he's being hunted for sport, O'Brien is forced to choose between obeying orders and protecting someone he considers a friend. It's a classic Star Trek moral dilemma, but filtered through DS9's more character-driven lens. Why it matters. The bond between O'Brien and Tosk is genuine, and the episode subtly sets up DS9's willingness to question Federation ideals in a more grounded, morally ambiguous way. 7. The Nagus, Episode 10, Why It Stands Out. This episode introduced one of DS9's most enduring and surprisingly deep characters, Grand Nagus Sek, played hilariously by Wallace Shawn. On the surface, it's a Ferengi farce, but it's also the first episode that starts to evolve Ferengi culture beyond greedy caricature. It gives us early insight into Quark's ambitions and vulnerabilities and offers some unexpected political satire. Why it works. The Nagus successfully balances slapstick with smarter subtext, setting up later episodes that would dig into Ferengi reform, family ties, and commerce-based ethics. 6. The Forsaken, Episode 17, Why It Stands Out. Waxana Troy episodes are often divisive, but this one is surprisingly touching. Stranded in a turbolift with Odo, Waxana's over-the-top exterior falls away, revealing her empathy and loneliness. Meanwhile, the subplot with a mischievous alien computer reveals the crew's resourcefulness and highlights DS9's more intimate scale of problem-solving. Why it earns its spot. Odo's vulnerability in his conversation with Waxana about his inability to maintain his form indefinitely is one of the most emotionally resonant moments of the season. It shows DS9's strength in humanizing even its most alien characters. 5. In the Hands of the Prophets, Episode 20, Why It Stands Out. This season finale is the clearest sign that DS9 is willing to tackle difficult and divisive themes. When Byron's spiritual leader Vedic Wind challenges Keiko O'Brien's secular teaching of Byron history and science, the station becomes the site of a religious political powder keg. The episode raises questions about religious freedom, secularism, and the intersection of politics and faith. Why it matters. This episode marks the beginning of one of DS9's most important ongoing conflicts, the tension between Byron religion and Federation ideals. It also introduces the dangerous and manipulative Vedic Wind, a major antagonist in seasons to come. 4. Progress, Episode 15, Why It Stands Out. Kira Nerys takes center stage in this powerful episode about displacement, resistance, and moral compromise. When a Byron man named Mullibok refuses to leave his home to make way for a power project, Kira is caught between her duty to Bajor's future and her sympathy for those like Mullibok, who reminds her of the cost of her own freedom. Why it's powerful. Progress humanizes Kira beyond the fiery freedom fighter. It forces her, and us, to confront the uncomfortable truth that progress often leaves people behind. It's a nuanced and emotional story that doesn't offer easy answers. 3. Past Prologue, Episode 2, Why It Stands Out. This is the episode where DS9 really begins to define itself. Kira's loyalties are tested when a former resistance comrade turns to terrorism. Meanwhile, the introduction of Garrick, enigmatic tailor and exiled spy, brings a new level of intrigue to the station. Why it's essential. Garrick's first appearance is iconic, and his dynamic with Dr. Bashir is immediately compelling. More importantly, this episode deepens the political and personal complexities surrounding Bajor, Cardassia, and Kira's identity. 2. Duet, Episode 19, Why It Stands Out. A masterpiece of moral ambiguity and character drama, Duet is often hailed as one of the finest episodes of the entire Star Trek franchise, not just DS9. When a Cardassian war criminal, or so it seems, is captured, Major Kira must confront her hatred and trauma as she seeks justice. But the truth is far more complicated. Why it's unforgettable. The performances from Nana Visitor Kira and Harris Yulin Maritza are phenomenal. The episode challenges assumptions about guilt, redemption, and accountability. It's a tense psychological drama that feels more like a stage play than a sci-fi episode, and it's utterly compelling. 1. Emissary, Episodes 1 and 2, Why It Stands Out. The DS9 pilot is arguably the strongest of any Star Trek series. In just 2 episodes, it introduces a rich new world, a wide cast of characters, and a tone unlike anything Trek had done before. Captain Sisko's encounter with the prophets in the Byron wormhole is both metaphysical and deeply personal, dealing with grief, time, and non-linear existence in a way that feels profound. Why it deserves the top spot. Emissary succeeds on multiple levels. It's a gripping introduction to the Dominion wormhole, the political tension between Bajor and Cardassia, and Sisko's role as a reluctant spiritual figure. It doesn't shy away from pain, especially in its depiction of Sisko's trauma over the loss of his wife at Wolf 359. It sets the stage for a series that would grow more complex, serialized, and emotionally resonant than any other Star Trek show at the time. Final thoughts. Season 1 of Star Trek. Deep Space Nine may have a reputation for starting slowly, but within its early episodes lie the seeds of one of the most ambitious and rewarding series in the Trek canon. The 10 episodes listed above hint at the show's future brilliance, its moral complexity, character depth, and willingness to dive into politics, religion, and trauma without easy answers. Whether it's Odo questioning his identity, Kira facing the